Okie dokie, everybody. Welcome back. You're here at the Fox Den with Peter Voss, the Papa Fox, and we are going to continue playing Tyranny by Obsidian Entertainment. When we last left off, we had dealt with some Scarlet Chorus interlopers on the outside of this ruin, and, well, we had found this ruin, and we talked to somebody who seemed to be maybe not necessarily the leader of this group, but definitely one of the more informed, and he seemed to know Lantry. They were both scribes. So, how are y'all doing? I'm doing absolutely wonderfully. I'm recovering bit by bit from my cold. My voice is still very low and gravelly, but there we go. Might help me do some of the voices, if you don't mind me coughing every now and again. Let's go ahead and actually level up, because we got a level up for Barrack. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we can give him more endurance defense. That would definitely be good. We could also just give him a direct boost to vitality, which I think we will do, because sometimes that is just useful to have. Save, yes, okay. Sentinel. Okay. What can we do? Pursuit as sort of combat. Okay. Increases defensive benefits from shields, that's useful. Leap to an aid of an ally, taunting enemies nearby, that's also very good. Bond with an ally, no. Defender's Watch. Barrack and nearby parties members take moderately reduced damage. We will do that. Yes. Save. Okay, let's look here. The one who got away. Truth and Reconciliation. We have to find the chronicles that were left by Lantry's old paramour. The one who got away. Speak with Jaspos, Master of Napping. Not napping as in like I'm going to take a nap now, but napping as in like chipping away stone. If you're familiar with Native Americans in the U.S., or, you know, a lot of, I mean, this was a very common practice anywhere else, but I was first introduced to it with Native Americans. You nap obsidian into whatever tool you need to do. And we can also talk with Tidecaster Wagstaff. Okay. If you haven't noticed, I've had a bit of wine, so this should help me gab a little bit more, despite my cold. Okay, I've returned. We've already talked with him about absolutely everything we could hope to ask for. What is the Denizen Domicile? Looks like we could go in there, so why don't we go ahead and do that. Master Jaspos will know what to do. Merchant? Cool. Jaspos is northeast. Okay, it looks like they're not going to let us do much of anything until we talk to some folk. Let's actually go ahead and see what's in the domicile. Wine always helps. So, there we go. We can actually take stuff. Hide. Not very stealthy of them to keep it in a pot, mind you. I'm terrible. Ooh, what do we got here? An iron javelin. It's filled with irony. Very irony. No, that was a bit of a stretch. Not my best work. If you want to take a sample of my more clever puns and everything, I would suggest going on over to my Twitter, especially if you like Dungeons & Dragons. Most of my puns, in fact, are D&D dad jokes, as it were. So if that's something that strikes your fancy, I would highly suggest.
Certainly trying to make this place livable. It's certainly more welcoming than most of Stalwart.
Yes, it is. Definitely so.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. I can't do much of anything, so there we go. Who is this? It's a horde. Oh, wait. Huh. They have Scarlet Chorus, but they're on their side. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if I'll find out more about that. Light leather vest. More horde. For the horde. Rostrum Lank. Let's go actually pillage this little crate. Chest, actually. It's a chesticle. Merchant Elgi. We can actually talk to this guy. Rostrum Lank. A weary-looking man observes you through dark, sunken eyes, nodding faintly as you approach. Fatebinder, greetings to you. Though unkempt and draped in disheveled rags, he bows deeply in the style of Northern Tiersman nobility. You observe that his right arm is emaciated and frail, seemingly rooted in place. Rostrum Lank, son of the late Rostrum Volus. I saw you in the bastard city shortly after Tunon's arrival. We've come a long way from then, haven't we? He chuckles mirthlessly at the memory. You'll want to speak with Wagstaff or Jaspos before you get too settled in. The former's down by the falls, the latter in his forge up north of the hall. Okay. I'm getting the distinct feeling that they're not going to let us do much of anything until we actually do what they want us to do. Wagstaff, insipid moniker. Let's just... why not? Let's just go ahead and...
Tidecasters always have nice reflecting pools. Mine was bigger.
Arranged at angles that recall the sigil of gravelight, these crystals shimmer with the collected glow of what little radiance from Taratus' grave filters into these depths. What do we got here? A denizen. Denizens. And hello, Wagstaff. A bearded, weathered figure stands by the pool's edge, eyes closed in concentration. His face, uncharitably weathered from years of sun and wind, is a collection of deep, intertwining creases wreathed by a brittle-looking gray mane. One disapproving eye snaps open as you approach. Of all the disheveled barnacles to find, you? By Kyros's law, swollen it. Swollen it. You? One of Camberell. Hagravar. Don't tell me you're all that's left. We're going to step back and let them talk. They fought their good fight, but fell to Cairn at the well. What's your excuse? How'd you slither your way here? They're dead. So the militants have fallen, and you're all that's left? Screw us all. Kyros really has one. I didn't slither. It was more of a superstitious crawl. Speaking of lowly vermin, what are you doing with this lowlife? Need me to give you two a moment? A moment? Hardly. I can't think of the last time Wagstaff has kept up his banter for more than a minute or two. Ever since you aged in that face of a worn tangerine, we've all had problems keeping things up around you. Speaking of improbable feats of tumescence, what is that little apex boy of yours still ramming your stern on the regular? I'm going to remain silent. This is actually kind of entertaining. Aldanos died of his wounds from the Battle of the Gates of Judgment. How about you? I can only assume that half the reason you're here is to find some new apprentices and screw them. That's what I'd do. We're going to remain silent still. Well, yes and no. Yes, with the apprentices, but I don't know. I just might stay here. We've stumbled upon something unusual here. Not sure how permanent a solution living here might be, but we've been trying to make the most of it. But your friend here changes things. The Tidecaster points at you with a scowl. We always knew outsiders would come, but short of Grav and Ash showing up, a Fatebinder is about as terrifying a notion as we've imagined. I assume someone pointed you towards me to speak for the settlement. If there are matters to discuss, so be it. I may not like it, but I do lead these people. Frankly, only because nobody else can. That stone-straddling fool Jaspos will talk himself into believing he's up to the task, but don't believe his bluster for a moment. Anyway, I'll just ask the question everyone's wondering. What are your intentions with us? Okay, let's see what our options are. For now, this does not violate because we are trying to boot him. Stretches the interpretations. I'm not going to have to do that. No, I am to bring unity to the independence of your settlement serves my purposes. We're going to go with this one, actually. I aim to bring unity and independence to the tiers. Your settlement here served my purposes. I'm sure you do. His look of surprise slowly fades into one of realization. Wait. Do you speak true? Why would a Fatebinder? The Fatebinder saved us from the brink of the during the second siege of Vendrian's Well. And no, we weren't frog marched to the court at first opportunity. Petra Voss embodies I can't believe I'm saying this, the best part of Kyros's philosophy. The desire to rule, not to rule a wasteland. What's the catch? Is this a long con to gather together resistors and kill them all at once? Why, yes, no, okay. If everyone I try to recruit has an anchor up their backside, this will certainly become my plan. I like this one, it's kind of funny. The other Archons tried conquest by blade and has failed. No, we're not going to do conquest. The catch is I need to maintain my standing as a Fatebinder. We're not conquering. We're going to go with this one. It's a bit funny. Yeah. So I see you've been traveling with this old crone for too long. The old Tidecaster wobbles his staff in Eb's direction. So what then does this mean for my wards and I? Duty and integrity, but I'm allowed to determine the specific punishment? No. For now, this settlement may continue to operate independently. He raises an eyebrow, observing you with unmasked skepticism. Indeed, or unexpected, Fatebinder. Perhaps your visit was worth the interruption. Making a life without someone breathing down my neck is all I ever want. Thank you. He appears genuinely disgusted with his halfway cordial offering, and shakes his head violently to banish the feeling. With a satisfied nod, Wagstaff cups his hand and bellows, "The court will extend mercy!" Wagstaff's celebratory yell echoes throughout the makeshift village and is answered by distant cries of relief and sobs of joy. Thank you, Fatebinder. I knew the day would come that we'd be discovered, and I imagined a much bloodier scenario. In this regard, I'm happy to be made a fool. Life here in the wound isn't easy, and we've always assumed outsiders will bring death, not help. Your leniency is the sort of surprise we needed in these difficult times, and though I never would have guessed this, your arrival may be the sign of good things to come. These people here seem guilty of little more than trying to survive. I'm happy to be of service. If I may take you literally for a second, let's say I was in the need of someone who can come and go from this refuge and handle some matters for me. Would you be willing? It's hard for me to leave things unattended if I were to perish. And if I were to perish... depends on what you have in mind. There's an old rival of mine out there, a sage named Phoebe. Phoebe. He twists the rope on the end of his staff, grimacing. Yes, we're from rival schools. No, this isn't just a case of an unsettled score. I'd live and let live, but she poses an actual threat to the wound. She had knowledge of my plans to journey north and trace Cairn's path in these mountains, which may expose us. She could bring a slew of homeless sages here, probably followed by a gaggle of spies. It's not worth the risk. She needs to die. His tone is matter-of-fact, almost casual. The problem is finding her. We had a mutual contact, Melita, who used to spend this time of year at Lethian's Crossing. If the two are still in touch, she'd be able to point you in the right direction. Oh. All of Bastard's wound would be in your debt. Most of all, me. Can I trust your help? How do you know her? Over a decade at the School of Tides and the School of Ink and Quill tried, yet again, to discuss peace. She represented her school. I was forced to represent our end of this fruitless mediation. It was all a farce to get to know a few of us, figure out who should be spied upon. Several spans later, some of my work was discovered by the sages. Word thieves, every last one of them. Is this sage such a threat? She's a risk to everyone living here. The woman hates me. Having dealings with her in the past was a mistake, and I'll be damned if I let that error ruin all we've built here. Now that her school is in ruins, she'll view my accomplishments here as research to be appropriated. And while she's at it, she'll engineer a catastrophe for the wound just to spite me. So yes, Fatebinder, I'm sure. I'm not going to kill someone before they've actually done anything. I understand this sentiment, but whether you believe it or not, all that woman is a threat. I will gladly bring... Okay, yes, okay, followed here. Found this place. Why kill someone when the secret's already out? Yeah, you could have patching a hole just because I knew one. Okay, cool. I'm not a killer for hire. Leave the matter to you. No promises. Okay, cool. What? I'm actually gonna take a break doing the voices because my own voice is starting to get a little raw. So there we go. I'm actually gonna take a sip of my wine. What do you do here as one of the leaders? He shakes his head. I'm the only true leader, as I've said before, but I won't belabor the point. He clears his throat. 3 years ago, I stumbled across these old walls and very quickly found I wasn't alone. A clutch of hungry and sick tearsmen had stumbled upon this enclave as well. I had come here to escape Curious' forces, but I'm nothing if not driven by noblesse oblige. I decided I'd weigh anchor for a bit and help out. His staff dips into the pool at his feet, sending ripples across the surface. Water was both the problem and the solution. These refugees were surrounded by it, but couldn't drink it without picking up whatever old walls-induced diseases lived within it. Withering rot, we call it. Let him continue. To a tidecaster, these are trivial matters, so as long as I'm here, making a solution to purify the water is a simple matter. Okay, cool. Well, tell me about the tidecasters. Okay, cool. Information is out of date. I'm sure I thought it was the last for our school. Okay. Okay, cool. Archon of Tides. Excuse me. Why didn't you leave with the others? I was one of the few to stay, and why not? This is my home. Okay, so very, very similar to Ebb in that regard. What you've been doing since the school's departure. Dealing with unfinished business. Half a dozen sages had wronged some friends of mine. Okay, vengeance. And then he decided to not fight. That's odd. Okay, cool. What did you do in the school before the war? What was your title exactly? I don't think we ever had a ceremonial office for the instructor of the most dedicated to diddling the students. Oh my goodness. Oh, come off it. Oh my. Dearie me. I guess we know, the kind of culture Ebb was a part of. Curation of... Okay, so he was basically the Lantry of the School of Tides. Fellow... There we go. Countless gaps in your accounting. Glares at Lantry with contempt. Oh boy. Yes, let the historical record know that Lantry takes the hint. Fluid magics of our school. Mighty power of Gravelight. Can't blame him for me. Water, mist, ice, and the fog have always been more immediate, more real. Okay, cool. Why didn't they stay and fight? If I may be so bold as to answer your question with a question, why do you think it was? Not many folks seem to know the truth, so I'm curious what one of Curious' soldiers believes happened. They knew something we don't. Perhaps the cartographers were wrong. We're going to go with this. This is the most intriguing answer. Many were told none of our explorers ever found out land across the ocean, yet Jade told many of the archipelago. Just waiting. Okay, cool. The will to persist. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, he would say that. Something else. How do you purify? Gravelight energy. Okay. Trace amount of alcohol and beastman blood. Cool. Tiring process. Oh, right. So he's poking fun at his co-worker. Why should I know about what should I know about Jaspos? Doesn't ever stop talking. Cool. Okay, so he really doesn't like him. Cleanse the water, not as well as I do, mind you. He can pontificate at all hours of the day. Okay, so they're basically they don't like each other. His big mouth, he talks incessantly about transforming Bastard's Wound into something great, but the truth is he's just out for himself. Okay. Heard a beast woman here once held sway. Reef Talon, Curious Chase, that one. She pawed her way into the caves. Okay. Prone to bathing. Bloody Dust Up with the Bane. Healed some members with her touch. Reef Talon was a mystic. She claimed she wasn't. Right, okay, so that's going in line with what we were already told. What sort of problems happened to those who were healed? We already know most of this. What became of Reef Talon? Stumbled onto a refuge as favored, shocked and appalled by the beastman living with us. Even deferred to Reef Talon. Okay. Man leads beast, not the other way around. Such things should not require an explanation. Okay, Reef Talon fled during the altercation, I guess is a combination of guilt. Ah, okay, cool. Save us from her. Okay, so she's out there still. She fled deeper into the old walls. There we go, not topside. What happened to the Sleepless? Went with her. Okay. Elsie, a woman whose life already marred by the tragedy of wedlock, to Jaspos, was the last person healed by Reef. She's still cogent. Who knows how that'll... Okay, so we have another person to talk to. Wonderful. That's all for now. Let's go ahead and see how much time we have left on the alarm. I do believe that's going to be the end of the episode. Well, if you've enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like on the video or give me some feedback if you prefer. Of course, as always, it's great to see you all here at the Fox Den. I hope you'll come back next time and pull up a chair for some more Tyranny. Alrighty, y'all take care now. Bye.